Alright, Guardians. This is going to be about Protect, the game type where there's a miner that comes around the map with you, or stays at the gate, effectively, increasing the difficulty of a map, because now you're not only defending a warp gate, but you're also defending a miner. So what I've set up here is a quick what this map is. It's just how I was testing the way that the waypoints and just generally the game mode of a Protect with the game type, game mode, Protect mode Escort goes. There are 3 Protect modes under the Protect game type. First is the standard Protect, then there's Escort, and then there is a mode called Payload. So when you're working on a map that is a Protect map, there are 4 warp gates, and there's going to be a miner that starts with you at warp gate 1, and will be part of the game under Protect, and Escort will be part of the game through the rest of that map. Protect is 4 different zone stages where you're basically playing a wave defense and defending the warp gate and the miner at each of those locations. Escort, there is no warp, or sorry, not there is a warp gate, but the warp gate is where the miner is going to go to. So for example, I've laid it out. There's a warp gate here at 1, there's a warp gate over here at 2, then there's a warp gate over here at 3, excuse me, then there's a warp gate over here at 3, and then there's a warp gate over here at 4. And the way that I've got that laid out and set up, I've also set up waypoints, these 1, 1, 1, 1. These are miner waypoints, and the miner will find himself going between these waypoints on its way to the next gate. And the path is automatically updated. Each time you move a waypoint, it will change the path, but it actually generates the path with the shortest distance. So if you take a waypoint and move it, I'd moved a waypoint from here over into this space over here, so it actually chose to remove it from the path over here and add it to the path over there, right? Because the waypoints that will track, the miner's just going to hit all of the wave 1 waypoints on its way to wave 2. The other thing is, even though the path looks like it goes directly through these objects, the miner will find its path around. It'll follow the nav mesh that goes around these objects on its way through. So this is an Escort map, which means that you're going to be following the miner. On Escort, there's a miner speed. 10 is a very, very, very fast miner. 4 is kind of I think it's a good pace for the miner. It's a little bit faster than what I'll say. It feels like a good pace for the miner, because it feels like it's about what you would want to follow and keep up with. But really, a miner speed of 1 or 2 feels like it kind of drags. It might work on a small map, but the nice thing about having a slow miner is that regular speed bugs can catch up to that miner and attack it. Whereas if you make the miner speed 10, that miner is going to be outrunning a lot of bugs, or at least going to outrun their attacks. Particularly bugs like flying bugs, that try and shoot the miner from a distance and don't lead it. So just keep those things in mind when you're making an escort map. Allow enemies at checkpoint. There is a checkpoint time, so you can cause the miner to reach that checkpoint and then wait there. I've got it set at 1 second, but you can have the miner stay there for a period of time to, you know, have sort of a defense couple of waves or something there, if you want. And then what else am I missing here on Escort? Escort works well trying to defend the miner in so far it seems like people do escort maps pretty well when the miner is on a, you know, a tracked map. On a map like this where it's wide open, this is just kind of a test map. It's a little bit easy to just like follow the miner and defend it from wherever everything's coming from. As the miner just go, you know, because it's so open, it's a little bit too easy to play it that way. When you make your, you know, if you do this as an enclosed map, or just has, you know, follows along a path, Escort and Survival are two game modes that work pretty well if you design them as kind of linear maps as opposed to wide open. So that's just worth noting. So if we drop back to Protect, excuse me, under a Protect map, the miner may still follow those waypoints, but they also might, hang on, let me save this and see if they go away. Nope. Okay, well, under a Protect map, the miner's going to track to those, but it's actually going to continually go back and forth between its stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 resource nodes. And so you can place the distance between the resource node and the warp gate to enhance the difficulty there. You can, in each of these waves, define where spawners are coming from. So I think that this will lend itself well to really making some extremely advanced defense style maps, just with you know, you can say that because you've got stages to this, because you've got different stages for your defense when you're playing a Protect map, have those enemies coming from all different directions, because you now have stage controlled spawn balls instead of just you know, your typical defense map is very simple. You just place spawn balls out and you've got one warp gate to defend. Now that warp gate could be in different places, but you could also place all of the warp gates right on top of each other if you wanted to. Turn the gravity off and take your warp gate and set it right on top of the other one. You know what I mean? So the warp gate doesn't actually move, but all 4 warp gates are in the same place. Now you've got a miner that's going to different resource nodes for different stages, and you can actually have 4 stages of different, like, controlled spawn ball locations, right? So first, all of the enemies are coming from this direction, then all the enemies are coming from that direction. First the dragons are coming from this way, now the dragons are coming from that way. Just an idea. But it definitely can make a defense map more interesting if you were to do, if you've got an idea for a defense map and you just want to have more control over how the enemies are spawning in, from where and when, gives you a little bit more control over how many. So back to the difference between the different Protect mode types. Finally, you've got Payload. Now in Payload, there is a bomb timer. You're actually, when you spawn into the game, there's going to be a bomb that just is there, hovering in front of you. Now this whole game mode type may get updated, refreshed, made better, but the idea behind the payload game type is that there's a bomb and you grab it, and as soon as you pick it up, there's a bomb timer, and you will get that timer refreshed upon arriving at the next base. But if you run out of time, that bomb explodes in your hands, and you win when you deliver that bomb to the final base. So you're basically just trying to run the bomb from base to base, or from waypoint to waypoint, and it's again another linear tour type game mode, but it certainly has potential, and I think they're going to update that in a future update. Maybe make payload work in another way, which I think there's something cool to be done with that. And honestly, there's some ideas about, to be generated about how to play payload maps. There's a couple of them out there. Currently, there's some stage related issues with payload maps, or at least as of this video making, particularly force walls that have to be destroyed aren't getting synced properly between all players. So both of the payload maps that I've tried to play did not work when I played them. But yeah, so if you have ideas, maybe try and get that made, and maybe see what happens when the update does come out that maybe fixes payload or changes it, however that works. Oh, real quick, just to point it out, I mentioned minor waypoints. That's here under special minor waypoints. So if you're making a map and you want the miner to move to different places, right? You just move your minor waypoints, and the miner will track between those waypoints. That should be helpful. You don't have to have the waypoints. The miner will find its way from gate to gate if you just set up the map that way. But that is it. Good luck out there.